this is Dr. L, and I'm going to be talking with you about some fundamentals of chemistry that underlie and explain how cells work. So this is the very fundamental chemistry, which will lead you into some very fundamental biochemistry. What are biological organisms? An organism is a life form, and living entities, other than viruses of course, are made up of one or more cells. And living things have certain properties which are discussed in other videos elsewhere. Here we're going to focus in a little bit on like the structural aspects of cells as we move into the world of chemistry. Cells can be either eukaryotic or prokaryotic. A eukaryotic cell has a nucleus. A prokaryotic cell does not. A nucleus means genomic DNA is bound up in a double membrane system. It's really not fair to say that eukaryotic cells are more complex than prokaryotic cells. It's just that they have more extensive intracellular structure. So cells are made out of macromolecules and molecules. Macromolecules are made out of molecules, and molecules are made out of atoms that are chemically bonded together. And so here we have the molecule called methanol, CH3OH. So there are in total 4 hydrogens, 1 carbon, and 1 oxygen in this molecule. That's the molecular formula written there. Here are 3 different ways to draw this particular molecule, just so that you can start looking and thinking about molecules. So I like this one over here on the right, which is the ball and stick way of drawing them, where each of these like little circular globes is representing an atom. So there's the carbon in black, and here is the oxygen in red, and then these little gray ones are a hydrogen. So there's a hydrogen here, 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 and here. And this is shown, like, this shows you how the 3D structure of this molecule could be. The lines that are connecting them are covalent bonds that are holding these atoms together. Covalent bonds are a type of chemical bond we're going to talk about here. Over here in the middle is another way of drawing it, and here in this model they're using, the author of this figure is using different ways of drawing the covalent bonds to depict where the atoms are in space, right? So this little dashed line is pushing this hydrogen atom away from us, and this like big fat triangular shaped way of drawing this covalent bond is bringing this hydrogen atom towards us. But it's the same structure. And over here on the left we have a 2D representation of this structure, just showing us that these are single covalent bonds as shown with 1 dash, and not really showing us anything about the 3D shape of the molecule. But these are molecules, atoms held together by covalent bonds to form larger structures referred to as molecules. If we were to take a bunch of these and bond them together, then we would be up into the world of macromolecules. That's what those terms mean. There are organic molecules and there are inorganic molecules. Organic molecules contain carbon. In other words, they are carbon-based. It's the major atom holding the molecule together. Carbon is one of the atoms that make up the periodic table, and it's incredibly important for living things. Organic molecules will usually show up as carbon extensively bonded to hydrogen, another atom. So for example, C6H12O6, which is glucose, is an organic molecule, carbon-based, many hydrogens in the molecule. Inorganic molecules typically lack carbon, or they will only have carbon where it is bonded to oxygen. So O2, or oxygen, is an inorganic molecule, and so in fact is carbon dioxide. Even though there's a carbon there, it's not bonded to any hydrogen, so most biologists and biochemists will consider this an inorganic molecule. Macromolecules, as I said a moment ago, are larger structures made by bonding smaller molecules together. Usually the smaller molecules, which we might refer to as monomers or building blocks, are either all the same or very similar. So think about Lego, right? You could build like a little house out of Lego, and the house itself would be the macromolecule, and the little Lego pieces would be the smaller molecules or building blocks. Here's a biological example. This structure is the monomer or building block or small molecule for a protein. It's called an amino acid. We'll learn more about those in the future. To the right is another amino acid. So this amino acid is a molecule, this amino acid is a molecule, and when the two are chemically bonded together through this bond right here in the middle, which is incidentally referred to as a peptide bond, it is a type of covalent bond found in proteins, and that reaction releases the water. Okay, but when we put these two together, we get a larger structure referred to as a macromolecule. There are 4 major macromolecules found in cells. They are proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, and here the authors for this figure have written DNA/RNA, but I would prefer for you to remember the word or the term nucleic acids. DNA and RNA are both nucleic acids. These in green are the 4 macromolecules that make up cells, and they are made out of building blocks or monomers or smaller molecules. So amino acids, as I just said before, and that's another way of drawing an amino acid. Lipids are made out of fatty acids. Carbohydrates are made out of like monosaccharides and often involve the molecule glycerol. So the monosaccharides are the building blocks. And DNA or RNA are made out of structures called nucleotides or nucleobases. Okay? And we'll learn more about those as we cover each of the individual molecules in the future. So next we're going to talk about the structure and properties of atoms.